Act as if everything always works out for you. Because when you truly live from that assumption, life begins to bend itself to your belief. Every situation, every challenge, every delay starts to serve you, even when it looks like it's falling apart. Most people wait for things to get better before they decide to feel secure. But that's backward. The moment you decide that life favors you, life starts showing you that it always has. When you walk through the day with the quiet knowing that the universe is arranging everything perfectly for you, you stop doubting, you stop chasing, you stop asking when. You begin to expect good news. You start to trust the unseen. And that trust, that inner assumption, changes the atmosphere around you. It changes how people treat you, how opportunities show up, how doors open. Because you're no longer reacting to circumstances, you're creating them with your state of being. Imagine the version of you who already believes that everything always works out. That version doesn't panic when plans change. That version doesn't complain when someone says no. They smile because they know that no was simply redirecting them to a better highs. They know that delays are just divine timing. They know that whatever happens, it's part of the path that leads exactly where they want to go. When you act as if everything works out, you move differently, you speak differently, you think differently. You stop worrying about the how because you trust that the how is being handled. You show up with calm certainty instead of desperation. People feel that energy. The world feels that energy. You become magnetic to solutions, to help to success, because your inner world says, I already have it. Want every great thing that has ever happened to you, you began with a simple shift inside you. You believed that it could. The power isn't in the event, it's in your state of consciousness. So if you choose to see yourself as someone who luck always finds, who blessings always chase, who is always in the right place at the right time, then that becomes your truth. Life mirrors what you assume. Act as if the path is already clear. Act as if every setback is secretly a setup. Act as if everything is happening for you, not to you. Because the moment you live from that truth, reality starts to rearrange itself to prove you right. Act as if everything always works out for you. Really feel what that means. Imagine waking up every morning with the calm certainty that life is on your side, that every twist, every delay, every unexpected turn is part of a hidden order working perfectly for your benefit. You wouldn't rush. You wouldn't force. You wouldn't question every outcome. You'd move through your day with an invisible confidence, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, because you know that all circumstances are temporary and all of them are leading you somewhere better. Most people live in reaction. They see what's in front of them and decide whether to feel good or bad based on it. But when you act as if everything always works out, you live from creation, not reaction. You stop letting appearances control your inner world. You begin to understand that what's visible is just the shadow of what's being formed in the unseen. Every thought, every assumption, every inner word you speak is quietly sculpting your future. And the future always conforms to the shape of your dominant belief. When you hold the belief that life supports you, you begin to notice how it does. You'll find yourself running late only to avoid an accident, missing one opportunity only to discover a better one waiting for you. You'll look back on moments that once felt like disappointments and realize they were divine redirections. It's not luck, it's alignment. You're no longer fighting the flow. You're allowing the current of life to carry you exactly where you need to be. Everything changes when you start assuming that you are guided. Even the smallest details take on new meaning. That random conversation, that delay, that sudden idea, nothing is random anymore. It's all connected. You become aware that your reality is not happening to you, it's happening through you. Your outer world is a mirror reflecting your inner conviction. And when the conviction says, everything always works out for me, then even chaos begins to serve a purpose. There's a quiet power in living this way. You no longer waste energy trying to control everything. You let go, not because you've given up, but because you've woken up. You've realized that your job is not to manipulate outcomes, but to maintain the right state of being. The state of faith, the state of peace, the state of it's already done. When you hold that state, events organize themselves to match it. The outer must reflect the inner. That's the law. You'll notice people reacting to you differently. They'll sense something about you, something steady, something certain. You'll carry an energy that says, I'm not worried, because I already know it's handled. And they won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel drawn to it. That's the magnetism of trust. When you no longer doubt your path, the world stops resisting you. Acting as if everything always works out doesn't mean pretending or forcing positivity. It means embodying certainty before there's evidence. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about creating a new one through assumption. It's the quiet inner knowing that says, even this, especially this, is part of my blessing. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of reacting with frustration, you can smile and say, there must be a reason. Something better is on the way. That small shift in perspective turns resistance into allowance. It opens the door for the unseen good to reveal itself. The mind loves to worry. It feeds on what ifs. It tries to protect you by imagining the worst, but in doing so, it becomes the architect of the very fears it's trying to avoid. When you act as if everything works out, you gently train the mind to rest. You remind it that it doesn't need to control every variable. You start living from a place of surrender, not weakness, but wisdom. Because the moment you stop fighting life, life stops fighting you. Think of the person who walks through a storm without fear, because they know the sky will clear. That's the energy of faith. You may not see the sunlight yet, but you know it's coming. You don't question whether the sun will rise tomorrow. It's an established truth. In the same way, when you decide that everything always works out for you, it becomes your personal law. The outer world might take time to rearrange, but it will. It has no choice but to mirror your conviction. When you start living from this state, you begin to detach from the timeline. You stop asking, when? The impatient energy dissolves. You trust that what's meant for you can't miss you. You start moving through your goals with calm assurance, because you know that every step is leading you to the right destination. You don't need to rush what's divine. Everything unfolds with perfect timing when you align with the assumption that life is working for you, not against you. Even when things fall apart, you'll find yourself saying, good, let them. Because something better is being built in their place. You'll stop labeling experiences as good or bad. You'll simply see them as necessary. What if every delay was protection? What if every rejection was redirection? What if everything was a setup for something greater than you can imagine? The one who believes that way never loses peace, because they understand that the story isn't over yet. This mindset turns every moment into an opportunity to reaffirm your faith. When you lose something, you say, something greater is coming. When someone leaves, you say, that space is being cleared for who truly belongs. When things slow down, you say, this is my season of preparation. The words you speak shape your experience. And when those words come from a place of unwavering trust, life begins to rise to meet your expectations. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. It's not a technique, it's a state. You're no longer trying to make life perfect. You're realizing it already is, even when it doesn't look like it. You're no longer trying to force outcomes. You're letting them unfold. You're no longer praying from desperation. You're affirming from certainty. The shift is subtle but profound. You move from asking to knowing, from hoping to expecting, from wishing to embodying. There will be moments when the old habit of worry creeps in. That's okay. Don't fight it. Just gently remind yourself, everything always works out for me. Say it until it feels real again. The power isn't in repeating words, it's in feeling the truth behind them. When you say it with conviction, your body relaxes, your breath deepens. You can almost feel life rearranging itself in your favor. That's alignment. That's the creative power within you responding to your assumption. Every successful person, every fulfilled soul, lives with this hidden confidence that life conspires to help them. You can see it in their energy. They walk into a room expecting things to go well, and they usually do. That's not coincidence, it's consciousness. Their belief projects an invisible field around them, and the world mirrors it back. You have the same power. You just have to decide that you'll start using it consciously. Start small. The next time something unexpected happens, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, this must be happening for me. That simple reframe moves you from victim to creator. The moment you assume that there's meaning and purpose in everything, even the difficult moments lose their sting. You become unshakable. You realize that your peace no longer depends on perfect conditions. It depends on perfect trust. You'll notice synchronicities increasing. You'll think of someone and they'll call. You'll imagine an opportunity and it'll appear. You'll find yourself at the right place, at the right time, again and again. This isn't magic. It's the natural reflection of your inner certainty. The universe moves to meet the vibration you hold most consistently. If that vibration is everything works out, then everything must align to prove it true. The beautiful thing is that this way of living doesn't just make life easier, it makes it richer. You begin to appreciate the small things. You find beauty in detours, wisdom in waiting, grace in imperfection. You no longer rush to the destination because you've realized that the journey itself is part of the gift. Every moment becomes sacred when you trust its purpose. This trust changes how you see others too. You stop judging where they are in their process because you understand that they're being guided just like you. You start seeing through the surface, through appearances of struggle or chaos, and you see divine order unfolding in them as well. Compassion grows naturally from this awareness. You stop trying to fix everything and everyone. You start holding the vision that everything is already working out for them too. Life becomes lighter. Even the word problem starts to lose its meaning. What used to overwhelm you now feels like an invitation to trust deeper. The more you practice this state, the more you realize that the outer world has always been neutral. It's your perception that paints it with meaning. And when your perception says, all is well, then everything begins to reflect wellness back to you. Your energy becomes your greatest signal. When you walk around with the vibration of someone who knows they're favored, supported, and guided, you attract experiences that match that energy. You meet the right people. You receive unexpected help. You stumble upon opportunities you couldn't have planned. It feels effortless, but it's not luck. It's alignment. You've stepped into the flow of least resistance. That's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to make things work, they start working. The moment you stop doubting, you start receiving. The moment you stop needing proof, proof begins to appear. Because your assumption has shifted. You're no longer questioning whether life is for you. You know it is. That knowing becomes a creative force that bends reality to your favor. The key is persistence, not in forcing the outer world, but in holding the inner state. Anyone can feel good when things go right. Mastery is feeling good when they don't, because you trust that they soon will. The outer is always a reflection of the inner, but there's a delay. That's why most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of belief, but dig it up with doubt before it can bloom. When you act as if everything always works out, you water that seed with faith instead. You trust the process even when you can't see growth yet. There's something unstoppable about a person who lives this way. They become untouchable by fear. Their calm becomes their power. Challenges don't break them, they reveal their strength. They move through uncertainty with grace because they know that the outcome is already written in their favor. They've stopped seeking security in external things and found it within themselves. Life mirrors your energy. If you expect struggle, you meet struggle. If you expect ease, ease finds you. If you believe everything always works out, then every detour becomes a hidden blessing. It's not about positive thinking, it's about faithful living. It's about assuming the end from the beginning and walking as if it's already done. You don't need to convince anyone else. You don't need to prove your belief. Just live it. The evidence will appear naturally. People will begin to notice your peace. They'll ask how you stay calm through chaos. They'll wonder how things always seem to work out for you. And you'll smile because you know the secret you decided it would. And when doubt whispers again, and it will, return to that truth. Breathe. Remind yourself that you've never really been alone in this journey. Something greater has always been guiding you, shaping you, preparing you. Every moment, even the ones that didn't make sense, has led you here. And here is exactly where you're meant to be. Everything always has worked out, and it always will. Act as if everything always works out for you. And the world starts to respond to that assumption like a mirror reflecting your inner certainty. You no longer live from doubt, you live from knowing. The moment you decide that life is rigged in your favor, the game changes. You begin to see the invisible threads connecting every event, every encounter, every delay. And suddenly you realize that nothing was ever random. It was all part of a pattern too precise to be coincidence. Most people spend their lives reacting to life's ups and downs, like waves tossing them in every direction. But once you start acting as if everything is working for you, you rise above those waves. You stop identifying with the surface turbulence. You start seeing the deep stillness beneath. That stillness is your power. It's the place inside you that never panics, never doubts, never loses faith, because it knows that no matter how chaotic things look, they are unfolding in divine order. You begin to feel the difference between pretending and embodying. Pretending is external. It's trying to force confidence through words. Embodying is internal. It's carrying the quiet energy of someone who knows they are taken care of. There's no need to prove it. No need to say it out loud. People feel it when you walk into a room. They sense your calm. They feel your certainty. It's the kind of peace that doesn't depend on conditions. It comes from trust in the unseen. This trust becomes a shield. You no longer crumble when life tests you. You no longer see obstacles as punishment, but as preparation. Every challenge becomes an invitation to expand your capacity to trust. The greater the delay, the greater the blessing forming behind it. And when you understand that, you start welcoming the moments that once scared you. You start saying, if this is happening, then something extraordinary must be on its way. There's a quiet magic in this way of living. When you assume that things always work out, you stop rushing, you stop pushing, you allow. You begin to understand that your timeline is already perfect. The right people, the right opportunities, the right moments. They all appear exactly when you are aligned to receive them, not a second before. The waiting seasons are not empty, they are sacred. They are the soil where your faith grows roots. The person who lives as if everything always works out walks with ease. Not because their life is without challenge, but because they've stopped fighting the flow. They understand that resistance is what creates pain. They've stopped asking why and started saying thank you. Every experience becomes a teacher. Every detour reveals wisdom. Every loss carries the seed of something higher. When you act from this state, you move with an invisible rhythm. Life starts to feel choreographed, like the universe is dancing with you, leading you through steps you didn't even know you knew. You find yourself in the right place without trying. You meet the right person by accident. You say yes at the perfect time without planning. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. The outer world is syncing with the vibration of your inner faith. Most people wait for proof before believing, but the proof only appears after the belief. You can't wait for circumstances to show you that life works out. You have to decide that it does, and then watch reality reshape itself to match that decision. That's how creation happens. You are the cause, not the effect. Everything begins inside you. Think about it: every moment of fear, every thought of lack, every story of struggle is just energy being given direction by your focus. The universe doesn't choose for you, it reflects you. When you believe that life is hard, it mirrors hardness. When you believe life is kind, it mirrors kindness. When you believe everything works out, it mirrors alignment. Your reality is simply your belief projected outward. This doesn't mean you'll never face storms again. It means that even in the storm, you'll remember who you are. You'll stop asking the wind to calm down and instead learn to sail through it. You'll stop seeing obstacles as signs of failure and start seeing them as the universe testing the strength of your conviction. The storm isn't against you, it's sharpening you, preparing you to handle the abundance that's coming. Faith isn't pretending everything is fine, it's knowing that even when it isn't, it soon will be. It's the choice to rest in assurance instead of anxiety. When you truly embody that, your energy shifts. You stop waking up with the heaviness of what if and start waking up with the lightness of even if. Even if things don't go as planned, I'll still win. Even if something ends, something better begins. Even if I can't see it yet, it's already on the way. You start to notice how much energy you used to waste on worry, how much mental space was consumed by trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. When you drop that, your energy becomes available for creation, for inspiration, for joy. You start doing things not from fear of loss, but from love of life. You begin to experience effortlessness, not because you're lazy, but because you've stopped fighting your own flow. There's something deeply magnetic about this energy. When you move through life as if you're already supported, life rushes to meet you there. Opportunities that used to feel distant suddenly find you. The people who doubted you start to wonder how things always seem to align in your favor. They call it luck. You know it's alignment. You're not chasing anymore, you're attracting. Every assumption you hold becomes a silent command to the universe. Everything always works out for me is one of the most powerful ones because it eliminates resistance. It dissolves fear. It reprograms your subconscious mind to expect success, even in disguise. It's not a mantra, it's an identity. The person who truly believes that everything works out doesn't need to force outcomes. They live in the frequency of peace. They trust timing, they trust process, and they trust themselves. Think about the way you breathe when you're calm. It's effortless, natural, unforced. That's how life feels when you trust it. Everything begins to flow in rhythm with you. You start to sense when to act and when to rest, when to speak and when to stay silent. You become intuitive because your inner world is no longer clouded by fear. You hear the guidance that was always there, whispering beneath the noise. When something doesn't go your way, instead of spiraling, you observe. You breathe. You say, this too is part of it, because it is. Every detour, every delay, every seeming failure contains hidden direction. You've simply learned to interpret life differently. You've learned to stop labeling moments as wrong. You've learned that even chaos carries order. When seen through the eyes of faith, you begin to realize that faith isn't something you turn on only when life feels good. It's a way of being. It's walking through darkness, knowing light is inevitable. It's trusting that the same intelligence that makes the stars shine also guides your steps. It's understanding that nothing you truly need can ever miss you. And even if it leaves, it will return in a higher form. When you start living like this, miracles become normal. Not because the universe suddenly changes, but because you finally stop blocking its flow with disbelief. You start noticing the signs, the perfect timing, the coincidences that aren't coincidences, the little winks from life saying, see, I told you I've got you. You begin to expect good news. You start thanking life in advance. And life, like a faithful mirror, says, as you wish. This isn't delusion, it's creation. The world is always responding to what you are inside. When you walk through it expecting things to go well, people respond differently to you. Doors open, situations bend. You've tuned yourself to a higher frequency, and reality reflects it like an echo. You may call it luck, synchronicity, or grace. It's all the same force, just interpreted through your belief system. Even the smallest acts become powerful when done from this state. Making a call, sending an email, stepping into a meeting. When you carry the energy that says, this will go well for me, you influence outcomes before words are even spoken. You broadcast confidence. You radiate trust. The unseen world rearranges itself around that vibration. And the most beautiful part, is that this belief becomes self-reinforcing. The more you act as if everything works out, the more evidence you receive that it does. Each successful outcome strengthens your conviction. Soon you're not even trying, it's just who you are. You become the person who expects blessings and gets them, who walks into uncertainty and finds stability, who turns every ending into a beginning. Life responds to the energy of ease. When you trust it, it softens. When you doubt it, it resists. That's the paradox of creation. The more you relax, the faster things align, because your relaxation signals faith. It tells the universe, I already have what I need, and the universe mirrors that truth by delivering it. Imagine what would happen if you lived every single day from that knowing. You'd stop fearing outcomes because you'd trust your own ability to navigate them. You'd stop needing constant reassurance because you'd carry peace within you. You'd stop comparing timelines because you'd understand that yours is sacredly personal. You'd live lighter, freer, more aware of how supported you truly are. Even the tough moments, the heartbreaks, the rejections, the losses wouldn't break you. They'd deepen you. You'd start to see pain as a temporary teacher, not a permanent sentence. You'd realize that every breakdown is a setup for a breakthrough. You'd stop clinging to what leaves, because you'd know that what's meant for you is incapable of passing you by. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you don't deny reality, you elevate it. You bring a higher consciousness to it. You start interpreting everything through the lens of trust. That's where real power lies. The external world becomes less intimidating because you finally understand that it's responding to you. It's a dance, and you are leading it with your inner state. This way of being isn't fragile, it's invincible. It's the difference between walking through life, feeling like a victim of chance, and walking through life as a conscious creator. The circumstances may not change overnight, but your relationship to them does. And once your inner world shifts, the outer world follows like a shadow. You don't have to wait until things work out to live as if they already have. That's the secret. You reverse the order. You live from the end. You smile before the reason appears. You celebrate before the evidence arrives. You give thanks before the manifestation. And that energy, gratitude before proof, is what calls the proof into being. Soon you'll look back and realize how much simpler everything became when you stopped fighting for control. Life was never against you. It was waiting for you to believe in it, to believe in yourself, to stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start affirming, what if it does? And better than I imagined. That shift changes everything. You are not unlucky. You are not forgotten. You are guided by an intelligence far greater than your plans. Every detour, every delay, every closed door is a silent act of protection, rerouting you to alignment. Once you begin to see through that lens, fear loses its power. The unknown becomes exciting again. You begin to live in constant dialogue with life itself, whispering, I trust you, and hearing back, I've always been here. So you keep walking, not because you know every step, but because you know the destination is guaranteed. You keep smiling, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally understand it already is. So walk through this life with your head high and your heart steady. Trust that no matter what appears in front of you, it is working for you, not against you. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour is guiding you toward the version of yourself who already has everything you've been asking for. When you live as if everything always works out for you, you stop waiting for miracles. You become one. You radiate certainty in a world full of doubt. You remind others that faith isn't blind, it's visionary. It sees beyond the chaos to the perfection beneath it. So decide, right now, that life bends in your favor. That everything, absolutely everything, is leading you higher. And hold that truth like fire in your chest. Because the moment you do, the universe has no choice but to rise and prove you right.